Hello, guys, and good evening to you all. So, this is the third video lecture of the Introduction to DevOps. In this tutorial, I am going to explain you what are the DevOps tools and what are they are being used for. So, in this 25 minutes, I will be trying to explain you the tools which are open source and they are how they are aligned with the DevOps principle and DevOps culture. So without wasting any time, let's get started and see what comes further. So going ahead with the DevOps tools explained in 25 minutes. So what we are covering today. So here we are covering Git and GitHub. This is for the version control and source code management, Bash and shell scripting, Python for automation and scripting, Linux based operating systems, Docker, Kubernetes, AWS for cloud computing, CICD pipelines, Jenkins and GitHub Actions, Terraform, Ansible, ELK Stack, Prometheus, Grafana, and GitOps with Argo CD. Let's understand what is Git. So, understanding Git further, before proceeding further, I would like to explain you all like this is something that you need to understand what is the tool. And after that, when I will be starting the DevOps from a scratch course, there I will be explaining the each and every step and how to use Git, how to use Git. What is Git and GitHub? Git is a distributed version control system for tracking the changes in the source code. Means like whoever is working, like multiple teams are working, and how you will track who pushed the code, who made the changes into the main version of the code or main branch of the code. So it is a basic way, it's a basic tool to track the changes, push the changes, and commit the changes as well, and make a origin into the major feature branches and like these type of things. And GitHub is a cloud based platform for hosting the Git repositories, the hosting of code. You can host code there, you can collaborate with multiple teams, your friends, your colleagues as well. This code is a basic example where we are creating a remote repository by adding git init, which initialize the repository into the particular working folder, adding the changes like git add dot. It is used for adding the changes, whatever the changes you have made into that repository file, and then committing that initial file. Or mainly we do it like an initial commit for the first time you are committing, and again remote add origin repository URL. If you have created a repository URL, then I will be showing you how to create the remote origin by the command line version as well on a GUI as well. We will have to understand what's the difference between Git and GitHub first. So Git is a distributed version control system and GitHub is a cloud-based platform for hosting those codes. So with Git, you can use Bitbucket as well, GitHub as well, and many other like GitLab as well. So many other tools are aligned with the Git. So GitHub is used with all of these three and all of the other tools as well. So what is Bash and shell scripting? Going ahead with the bash and shell scripting is like creating the Linux based scripts to bash is a Unix shell, means like it is a Unix shell used for command line interface operations and scripting. So you want to automate something, if you want to automate something like backing up the files, and here it is an example. So is a live example I am also showing you, like perform the backup of the file in the specified format by writing a shell script. Here you can see I am performing a backup with the particular file path, and in which format, like which, like tarball, gzip, and other thing also you can define here, and the backup will be getting completed. So this can be used as well. Python, I think you are all familiar with the Python. It can be used for the web development, software development, backend development, API development, and it is a widely used scripting language, high level scripting and interpreted language that is used for data automation, data processing, and other types of task automation as well. So you can use into the DevOps culture, you can use it creating an automation script to connect with the when you are connecting with AWS services by using the Boto 3 module. So you will be able to connect, you will be able to create a Python file which will be directly connecting with the AWS services and creating the services like AWS S3 bucket, EC2 instances, Lambda functions as well. Linux is an open source operating system kernel. Basically, uh, there is a myth like Linux is an operating system, but Linux is not an operating system. It is a Linux. Linux is a kernel. On based on that kernel, different type of operating system, open source operating system is made like Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, RHEL, and other things are always OpenSUSE and other Linux based operating systems are there in the market. So there is a multiple use for this one, like server management, managing the servers, and also further reaching out the hosting the applications of the hosting the web applications by using the web servers like Apache or Linux. We can use a server management as well. So Docker is an open source platform designed to simplify the development, deployment, and management of the application by using containerization purpose. Containers are lightweight, portable units that can be packaged into an application. That units package it can be the application can be packaged into those container with their dependencies, environment variables, whatever we are using, and then we can ship those application to the other environment as well. There is a basic funny joke over it, like if it's something working on your computer, but when your and then manager is telling you like, okay, so we are not going to ship your computer to the client. So this is the basic principle to design the Docker. When I will be explaining the Docker in depth, I will be explaining those things. I will explain how the Docker emerged and how the Docker, why the need of Docker enhanced, and why there was a need of a such type of a platform and such type of a tool. So proceeding further, the features of Dockers are containerization. It can the libraries and applications can be containerized, and the whole things got encapsulated in a single environment. And this is a platform independent. So if you are working over Windows and you are shipping those applications, you want to ship those application to the Mac OS, then the differently the system requirement get changed. So at that time you will be creating a Docker file, you will be packaging your application into an image, and then you can just push it over the any of the Docker hub or AWS ECR registry, and there you can give access to any user so that they can pull. But basically they should have Docker into their own computer as well so that they can run those services or those application as well. So Docker provides the isolation. Each container operates in its own isolated environment, ensuring that application don't interfere with each other. Efficiency. It gives very much efficiency as well as compared to the virtual machines. Virtual machines, we can run our application over virtual machines as well, but virtual machines are very large in size, very they take much of the memory, much of the storage, and they are also like and the Kubernetes. Yes, aligned with the Docker, Kubernetes is a very good service and very much needed in today's DevOps world. And we are moving with a fast paced application. We are moving with a fast paced environment where the need of the data and need of the application speed, so it can be a major loss to the company when you are having a slow system. So slow system can cause us a big deal in the loss of our revenue, and it will be a very bad impact also if our systems are slow, if our systems are getting down. So Kubernetes is used for managing those containerized application into different worker nodes. And so Kubernetes is an open source platform for automating the deployment, scaling, and management of those containerized application that we created before in a Docker image or Docker containerize. It organizes containers into the pods, manages their life cycle, and ensures high availability and scalability. Kubernetes is widely used to simplify running application in modern distributed system. So key features of the application, like key features of the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is orchestrated. It manages the containers containers across the clusters of machine. So there will be a wide clusters of the machine, like a master cluster will be there, and that master cluster will be having like 10 or 12 worker cluster, like worker nodes. And worker nodes are nothing but they are a virtual machines in which our containerized application will be deployed in the forms of pod. So there we will be using Kubernetes and scaling. So Docker is having a very great feature that is known as automatic scaling, or automatically adjusting the resource based on demand. Self healing, it can be replaced, it can replace. Kubernetes is designed in such a way that it can replace the failed or destroyed pods with a new pod automatically. Load balancing, it also provides a feature of load balancing which distributes the traffic across the different containers, different pods. Example, like I will say, imagine you are having an e-commerce application where you are having a backend, front end, and database, and then you can use Kubernetes to deploy these container on a multiple server. Like you can use any of the servers, like on premises, cloud based, like Azure, GCP, AWS, and ensure these applications we can these application can be used to scale automatically while using the Kubernetes container and Kubernetes orchestration. When the sale is high, the application will be automatically scaled. The Docker containers will be automatically scaled at that level to absorb those traffic to your website into the backend. And if any component gets failed, if any pod gets failed, if any container gets destroyed due to any of the reason, due to high traffic, due to any network errors or other things, then it will automatically restart those things. It will automatically restart other things as well. So, what is Amazon Web Services? We are using in this tutorial, I will be using Amazon Web Services as our cloud partner. I'm not say like a cloud partner because I don't have any affiliations with the AWS, but they provide a very big and very good way to understand the cloud computing basics to the advanced level, because they are free to use. And I will not say like other cloud-based services are not free. They are having free things, but I am very much aligned to the AWS, so I will be going ahead with the AWS. So that what is AWS? I think you all know. Like it is a cloud computing platform for offering the scalable solution for the computing, storage, databases, networking, artificial intelligence, and security as well. There are multiple things as well available into the AWS, like EC2, S3, RDS. It is a database. Lambda. Lambda is used for serverless computing as well. CloudWatch for monitoring and logging the data, logging the uses, and logging the errors of those AWS resources. So AWS enables us to make our business, enables businesses to deploy, build, and scale the application on a pay as you go model. Like whatever you will be using from the AWS, whatever the services you are using, you will have to just pay for those services only. It provides a wide variety of cloud service, like here you can see compute services, storage, database, networking, AIML services like SageMaker, Recognition, Comprehend, security, monitoring, CloudWatch, and CloudTrail that will audit. CloudTrail audits the log, and CloudWatch logs is used for logging and monitoring. So AWS is used for hosting websites, running the enterprise-based application for big data analytics, and event AI-driven solutions as well. So, what is CI/CD pipelines? Moving over the next, as we preparing these things, and we are covering those things into a next 25 minutes. So, how this CI/CD? What is CI/CD? So, CI/CD is a pipeline for the automation of the software development, testing of those software, and deployment of those software. So they help in delivering those updates, those delivery of the softwares in a faster and with a very few errors. So what is the key component of the CI/CD pipelines? There is a CI/CD, which is known as continuous integration, continuous deployment. So continuous integration automates the code interest integration. Like and code integration and testing, like by using Jenkins or GitHub Actions. Continuous deployment automatically deploys tested code to the production. In this method, I will be explaining how to build the CI/CD pipeline while you are using any of the services like GitHub, Bitbucket, any of the version controlling system, by using those things. And after that, you can use the AWS code deploy. AWS services are also there. I will explain those services as well separately in the AWS cloud computing tutorial. So deployment and monitoring as well. So deploys the code and tracks the performance, like Kubernetes over the Kubernetes AWS pipeline. We can also log those pipeline errors, pipeline log into our some of the desired databases where we want to store those logs. And CI/CD pipeline is like to improve the software quality, set up the release and management, and it also reduces the manual errors. So Jenkins for CI/CD pipeline. Jenkins is an open source CI/CD automation tool used for building, testing, deploying the application. So key features of the Jenkins is pipeline automation. It supports the wide variety of plugins, like you can install into the Jenkins server, you can install Git, Docker, Kubernetes, and other type of services like to manage the and other types of plugins are available. And it uses the pipeline automation. It uses a scripted or declarative pipeline. It is available in a Jenkins file or like a Groovy script, and also you can use some of the YAML aspects as well. Scalability supported. It is the Jenkins is supported into the wide variety of the multiple machines, like it is open source and it is also platform independent. It can run over it can run over your Windows machine, it can run over your virtual Linux machine and Mac machines as well. Jenkins helps us. So Jenkins is a self-hosted, so it can be run over the on-premises server. Like I tell you, you can use it on your local machine as well, and you can deploy those Jenkins servers on the cloud as well. Jenkins helps the automation of the software delivery, improving the efficiency and reliability. GitHub Actions for the CI/CD pipeline. GitHub Action is a CI/CD tool built into the GitHub. It is integrated with the GitHub. So GitHub is open source, and also the GitHub Actions is also open source. It is free to use as well, along with the Jenkins. Oh, I will be covering both Jenkins and GitHub Actions in my further videos. Let's understand the key feature of the GitHub Actions. This is the YAML based workflow. So we are defining our CI/CD pipeline in the YAML and descriptive way. Integration with the GitHub. It automatically builds, tests, and deploy on the code changes. It is automatically integrated with the GitHub, so you don't need to set up those things. Like in Jenkins, we will have to first install the Jenkins and then go ahead and connecting different type of version control management like Bitbucket, Git, or GitHub. Reusable actions, shared and reuse workflows across projects. So you can use those actions into the multiple projects. Like you don't need to write whole action again for your another project also. If you are having sort of uh, some sort of application, some sort of infrastructure which is shareable across your different type of application and different type of projects, which is common, then you can use those GitHub actions and workflows into those projects as well. So it is a cloud based, so no need of the self-hosted server. So Jenkins, you need to go ahead and install it on your local machine or into the AWS cloud, or whether you will say like on-premises server. But GitHub action is self-hosted. There is no need for the self-hosted. It is automatically aligned with GitHub, and it is coming free with GitHub as well. So GitHub action makes CI/CD seamless for GitHub projects, improving development speed and automation. So Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool. It is the tool which automates cloud resources provisioning. It enables users to define and manage infrastructure using code. So, what you will say, like if you want to create EC2 instance, what I will say, like I will give you a method to go ahead and create EC2 instance without using a single command line or without using the GUI. So at that time, The use of Terraform comes into the picture. So it is a declarative configuration. It uses the HashiCorp configuration language, and here we define our infrastructure, the EC2 instance, how our EC2 instance will look like whatever the services, how much of the CPU, how much of the CPU we want to use, how much of the memory we want to use, I and what type of EBS storage we want to attach, and what are the things like how to manage the access for it, even to create the IAM roles as well, and security configuration, security creation of the security groups as well. So it supports multiple cloud, like working with the AWS, GCP, and it can be used on premises server as well. And it is having a state management feature. You just this Terraform manages its states in such a way, like it will compare the current state with the previous state. If it matches, like there is no changes has been made, then it will proceed with the other steps. Otherwise, if there is any changes, then the current state will get matched to the previous state. So modular and reusable. So HashiCorp Terraform is a modular and reusable. It allows us to reuse the configuration for efficiency. We can say like we can use same type of configuration, that TF file, Terraform file, for our other type of projects as well. Like if we need our EC2 instances needed for multiple projects, so we can use those script and run with those project where the EC2 instance with the same configuration is needed. So automation, it automates the provisioning, scaling, and updates. Like whatever, if you want to increase the EC2 instance, just go ahead and define new EC2 instance details into the Terraform file, and just go ahead and apply it. It will automatically scale those applications, those services as well. And so if you want to allow some of the ingress rule, like security group, like any of the ports you want to allow, so just you will have to define the ingress rule into the Terraform, and you will allow it, and it will make changes in immediately into the AWS EC2 instances, like AWS EC2 ingress files. This is which is known as security groups. Terraform simplifies infrastructure management, ensuring the consistency, scalability, and the version control as well. Ansible for infrastructure configuration. So this is the very good tool to get aligned with the Terraform. Terraform can be used for infrastructure provisioning and configuration, but sometimes software developers and DevOps engineer use Ansible as a separate tool for configuration of the server. So Ansible is an open source automation tool used for configuration management, application deployment, and orchestration as well. So key feature are there, like it is agentless, no need to install software on target system. So we don't need to install this Ansible on a particular target system. YAML based playbooks. So Ansible is using a playbook type of structure, like the YAML files are there, and it is known as Ansible playbooks, and they are in a descriptive in nature and human readable format, where you can just go ahead and read, okay, this is the configuration, this is the structure of the particular infrastructure. And if anyone has been replaced by you, so you can just continue your work from there as well. So multiple platforms support, like it works with Linux, Windows, and cloud based containers as well. Independent execution ensures consistent result without repeated changes. Means like if any changes has been done and it has not been changed in your local environment, when you will push the changes, it is not going to touch it, because it is working similarly like Terraform. Like it also checks the states, if anything changed, then it will also change those services. But scalability, I was explaining, like scalability, it manages thousands of servers efficiently, single-handedly. Like if anyone one is working over the Ansible, and there are like numerous servers in the cloud or on premises, then it can manage very efficiently, and it will not make any glitch as well. So what is ELK Stack? Let's go ahead with the ELK Stack. ELK Stack is a log management and data analytics platform used for real-time monitoring and visualization. There are the three major components of the ELK Stack, which is Elasticsearch, analytics engine. It is a search and analytics engine for storing and querying the logs. Log stacks, a data processing pipeline that collects the and transforms the and sends logs to Elasticsearch. And Kibana is usually used for the visualization of those analyzing and displaying logs and data. Key feature. This is like ELK is mainly monitoring and logging tool which is used for centralized logging, real time monitoring, and it is having a scalability feature as well. It handles large amount of log data which are very large in volume, and it can handle those things as well. Going ahead with the integration, it integrates with the cloud containers and security tools as well. And ELK stack is widely used for log analysis, security monitoring, and performance tracking. Prometheus. It is also an open source monitoring and alerting tool designed for collecting and analyzing metrics from the application. If something is happening, you are not going to go ahead and check the logs of any single pod. So you will integrate a tool with your current application systems like Kubernetes, where your applications are hosted. You connect those Kubernetes architecture with Prometheus, and Prometheus will collect all of those logs and give you at a single place, so that you can find the where the fault is happening, where the error is occurring, and where the major issue happened. So time series, it is having a several features, like it is designed for collecting and analyzing metrics from applications and infrastructure as well. So it will collect the data of the application as well and for your infrastructure as well. It gives the time series data storage, like it stores metrics with timestamp for trend analysis, pull based monitoring. So there is a another thing with the Prometheus, that is pull based monitoring. It collects data from the targets using the HTTP endpoints. Like there is a PromQL for the Prometheus, which allows a flexible data analysis. Like there is a powerful querying language which is aligned with Prometheus, which is known as a PromQL, and it is being used for the analysis and querying the data of the logs, querying the logs and other type of data, whatever the time series data is there, alerting. So there is an alert manager. It sends the notification based on the defined condition. You will define, okay, so if any volume is getting low, you will need an alert for this. Okay, so this CPU utilization is high with a particular application. It will go ahead and notifies you with the particular defined condition. Scalability works well in dynamic environments like Kubernetes. It's the Prometheus aligns well in Kubernetes. When you are using Kubernetes, you can align Prometheus, you can integrate Prometheus, and it will give you a much faster result rather than you have to go ahead and figure out where the failure is happening by checking the logs of each pods and each deployments and replica set. You just need to connect the Prometheus, and Prometheus will collect all the logs and it will give you at a single place. So Prometheus is widely used for performance monitoring, system health tracking, and cloud native observability. Grafana. Grafana is open source data visualization tool and monitoring tool used for creating interactive dashboard. So it how you will be going ahead, you don't want to go ahead with a text based system, you don't want to read the whole text. So in that case you will connect Grafana with Prometheus, and Grafana will integrate with Prometheus, and it will show you the logs and all of the data of the and metrics of those logs into a visualization format, like visualized format. And it is having a several key features as well, like multiple source of the support, multiple source. It can support a multiple source as well. Key features of Grafana: multiple source support. Integrates with Prometheus, Elasticsearch, InfluxDB, AWS, and many more other tools where you can log the data into the Grafana and it will create a visualized dashboard, interactive dashboards, so that you can visualize those logs into a visual format. So it can give you a custom dashboard as well. There is a very wide team, so you can provide a custom dashboard to a particular team who are dealing, like someone is dealing with a Kubernetes, someone is dealing with a particular infrastructure which is a cloud based infrastructure. So you can provide the real time graphs, charts, and alerts with a custom dashboard. So there is an alerting system as well. It sends the notification over the Slack, over the email, and any other channels whatever you are using. It integrates. So Grafana is having alerting system as well. So alerting system means like it sends the notification via email, Slack, and other channels if anything goes wrong and any other defined condition get hits and breached. It also offers the user access control, manages multiple permissions for the team. Means like you can provide the role based access control to the Grafana and define the users. I will explain what is role based access control in a separate video, like what is role based access control and how they can be used with other platforms and how it changes with the other platforms like AWS, Kubernetes, and how to implement that role based access control. Extensible plugins. It supports wide variety of additional data source and visualization panel as well. So it is providing you a multiple plugins, like you can install multiple plugins into the Grafana as well to use the visualization channels and monitoring tool into a efficient way as well. Grafana is widely used for monitoring infrastructure, applications, and business metrics. GitOps. So we are developing our DevOps culture. So there is also a technique called GitOps, and it is another type of DevOps approach which uses Git as a single source of truth for managing infrastructure and application deployment. So key features of this GitOps are declarative infrastructure like configuration and stored in Git repositories, automated deployments, changes in Git trigger updates in environment. Version control enables rollback and auditability as well, improved collaboration. It ensures the consistency across the different teams, and GitOps enhance automation, reliability, and security in cloud native deployment. When you are working with the cloud based systems, then the GitOps techniques is a very new thing with a DevOps approach, which uses Git as a single source of truth. Means like the everything is defined in your whole infrastructure is defined with a Git and GitOps technique. By using the GitOps technique, you can enhance your automation, reliability, and security of your cloud native applications. And one of the things with the GitOps technique, Argo CD is widely being used. Argo CD is a newly born tool, and it has been emerged from last 5 to 6 years. It has been emerged well, like GitOps based on continuous deployment tool for Kubernetes. Argo CD is a GitOps based continuous deployment tool for Kubernetes. So it gets connected with the Argo CD. Argo CD gets connected with the Kubernetes, and there you can use the declarative deployment, syncs the Kubernetes cluster with Git repositories. Means like any changes you have done over the Git repository, Argo CD will be the middleman to synchronize those GitHub repository changes with the Kubernetes. Automated rollbacks reverse through the previous version on failure. If something gets failed, if your code is wrong into the GitHub or like any Git repository, then and you are syncing those changes, it will automatically revert. If it gets failed, then it will automatically revert to the previous stage of the application. It also provides the real-time monitoring. It provides a user interface as well as command line interface for application tracking and the tracking of the application state. And it also provides the multiple cluster management, means like deploys across multiple Kubernetes cluster. So when I will be explaining what Kubernetes is, I will be also explaining you the Argo CD along with it, so that you can understand. And Argo CD simplifies Kubernetes application deployment, monitoring, and version control. This is all about basic things like Argo CD is used for. Basically, it used for the Kubernetes based application synchronization with Git or any of the version controlling system. And that's all for today. And that's all for this video. And what is the next? In the next video, I will be explaining the DevOps architecture, and this would be the last tutorial for the introduction of DevOps. In the DevOps introduction, this will be the last tutorial, and after this, I will start giving the in-depth knowledge of tools. We will proceed with a streamlined tutorial of DevOps. Means like we will be getting deep dive how to use Git, how to install Git. After this, I will start giving the in-depth knowledge of tools. We will proceed with a streamlined tutorial of the DevOps where I will teach you how to install Git, how to use Git, how to commit and push the changes, pull the changes, what is fork and other type of things as well. Python will be the parallel tutorial and its video will be updated and uploaded in a separate playlist. So Python is another great topic, and I will try to cover all of the things in the Python, not for the automation and the scripting, even the oops concept as well, and multi-threading, parallelism in Python, and everything I will try to cover. But I will try to cover in 2 to 3 lectures. I will cover the Python as much as I can, so that you can be able to use it in the DevOps tutorial as well. So that's all for today, and thanks for watching this video.